Welcome to New Day Cleveland. I'm Natalie Herbick, and today we are celebrating makers, very talented makers throughout Northeast Ohio. Some inspired by nature, others by the past, and there's even one jewelry designer who used a terrible situation and turned it into something beautiful. But first, we begin with records that you can wear.
I make sunglasses out of old, scratched up vinyl records and wood, basically like your Wayfarer style. I've always been a huge fan of vinyl records. It's all I listen to. Just the sound is everything about the record, if you ask me. And I don't know, it popped into my head one day that I could possibly make sunglasses out of records, and I just did it over a long period of time. Obviously, it didn't just happen. A lot of the records I have are black. I've gotten them from garage sales, flea markets, even eBay. I sand them down. You lose the scratches and you keep the tracks pretty much. And I also get damaged, crazy colored ones from my friends at Wax Mage Records. They're affiliated with Got a Groove downtown. There are different kinds of wood that I use. I use walnut, cherry, oak. I've even used exotic woods. And basically just the outside of the frame is going to be vinyl records. All the interior is wood. Usually once they find out they're made of records, they pretty much lose it, you know. They think it's like the coolest thing ever. To people who collect vinyl, understand, you know, about like limited editions and stuff like that, where, you know, these sunglasses can be very limited, one of a kind, depending on the records that are chosen for each pair. I use a CNC machine to cut the basic shapes out, and then after that, it all goes into hand. It's a lot of hand sanding, staining the wood and polying and polishing and all of that, but also bending them is a process too, which takes time. And then assembly, just putting screws and lenses in, popping them in. But most of the work is in the hand sanding and the bending process. Voila! I wanted to walk away with a quality product, something that they're going to like to wear, show off.
Just like all of the other makers that will be featured on today's show, you can find more information on Rec Rays just by logging on to fox8.com. Well, from sunglasses to towels, here is Tart Boutique.
Tart Boutique is a great mix of vintage and handmade. I am, you know, kind of the face of the store. I'm here 5 days a week. I don't have any employees, except for my mom, who helps me out a little bit, and my dad. I started out here as a consignor myself, and then ended up buying the store almost 2 years ago. I love that I can work, do my screen printing. I have a little studio in the back here, so yeah, it's really an ideal situation for me. I'm a self-taught screen printer. I got a little help from Zygote Press, which is a great local, you know, print shop where you can learn all kinds of things, and that was a few years ago. And since then, I've you know, sold several thousand towels, tea towels, throughout the United States. Actually, I sell on Etsy, some different boutiques. I do some wholesale orders, and I sell a lot here. I hand draw everything. I don't use a computer for any of my graphics. So everything's hand-drawn from me. I burn the silk screens, and then I print in the back. I used water-based inks, which I love because they're a little more eco-friendly, and I like the feel of them on fabric. The items are coming all from Cleveland and the west side suburbs primarily. They are handmade as well as vintage. I feel like the shop is very eclectic, and I feel like there's something in here for everyone. My price points are very affordable, and I think that helps things move. I want to be fair to the consignor, but I want people to come in here feeling like they're going to be able to find a unique thing at a good price. So you could find everything from a bib for your baby that's brand new, to yes, a t-shirt. There's artwork to hang on the wall, and there's lots of Cleveland themed and Ohio themed items as well. Oftentimes people will feel like they're taking a walk down memory lane. They'll say, oh my gosh, my mom had this, or I remember this from when I was a kid. And then they'll often comment that it smells lovely, and I think that's from the soaps I have right by the front door, that are locally made. There is a lot to see, so it's a good place. You can come in and out, but I think people like to come when they have a little time to browse, because there is so much to see. I'm very proud of myself. I have to say, I feel very happy that this has come to fruition. I had dreams of having a store for so long. To me, this is just it was a wonderful opportunity that presented itself. It wasn't necessarily what I thought I was going to be doing in terms of having a consignment shop, but I love it. I love being here every day. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing, being a small business owner.
Tart Boutique is located on Lake Road in Rocky River. After the break, we get to meet the Twig Lady.
I'm making a quality product that somebody can pass down to their kids one day. I'm all about making heirloom pieces.
Welcome back to our hour-long show celebrating makers throughout Northeast Ohio. Our next stop happens to be a small studio in Ohio City. This woman known to many as the Twig Lady.
I took my first jewelry class in high school and I was totally hooked. I knew at that point that I wanted to go to art school, I wanted to study metalsmithing, and somehow turn it into a career for myself. The whole inspiration around it is the act of taking notice. So I take natural objects, a twig, a pine cone, a weird little seed pod, stuff that people take for granted and sort of don't notice in their daily lives, and turn it into something beautiful. So I cast it in 100% recycled sterling silver, bronze, or gold. I recycle all of the metal that I use, so if I have any scrap silver or gold, I melt it into an ingot mold, which basically makes a cylinder of the material. And I take it over to my rolling mill, and that allows me to roll it into the diameter of wire I need or the thickness of sheet that I need. I make a big plaster mold after I go out and gather all my twigs and pine cones. And that sits in a kiln overnight, everything burns out, and then I cast the metal into it. So it's completely solid, there's no twig or anything inside, so it's not gonna snap or anything like that. It's really exciting every time I crack open the mold because every piece is unique and one of a kind, so I love digging through all the different silver or bronze twigs and finding ones that'll fit for a necklace or a ring or something like that. I kind of go into this Zen space. I've been doing jewelry making for almost 10 years now, and so for me it's really meditative. I sit down at my bench, I have a plan of what I want to make, or I know the materials I want to work with, and then I just hit the ground running. I just love that process of making and using my hands every day. It's really important to me to have my hands in every part of the process so that I know that I'm making a quality product that somebody can pass down to their kids one day. I'm all about making heirloom pieces. I always joke that I do a little dance every time I finish a new piece or a new design. every day is a new discovery for me, so it's really exciting. And my favorite part about having that FaceTime with my customers and doing shows and stuff like that is seeing their excitement when they find a piece that's unique to them, that speaks to them. You know, maybe this twig reminds them of a tree in their grandmother's yard when they grew up, or you know, maybe they had a pine cone collection when they were little. And so it's really exciting to see their discovery, because it's a rediscovery for me every time.
From Liza Michelle Jewelry to our next couple who works with metal and wood, they call themselves Kindred Metal.
We make metal pieces, we make things out of wood, we make custom pieces, we make signs for people's homes, signs for businesses and bars, that sort of thing. Pretty much anything. We're like a jack of all trades as far as wood and metal. We've always wanted to start our own business, and we kind of tossed around a few ideas here and there, but Todd came up with an idea of investing in a plasma cutter, and we looked into it and saw that there was a market for it. It's all computer-based, and when we first got the software, it's like an engineering program, and so I had a little bit of help from my dad explain some things to me and give me some tips, but as far as everything else, it just kind of came natural, I guess. Normally we get our ideas from our customers. We do a lot of custom work, so they'll request something specific, and then I will design something on the computer, walk through it with a customer, and then we'll cut the design out with a plasma cutter, and then my husband will finish off the piece and powder coat it. It's a normal piece. It takes about 3 days, I would say, but custom work usually takes anywhere from a week to 2 to 3 weeks to design it from the start, from designing it to the finished product. They're made for outdoor use. We powder coat everything. We can also use pressure treated wood as well if you wanted to put a sign with wood and metal outside, but we powder coat everything. It gives it that protective coating so that it won't ever rust and it won't fade. If I'm not working at a custom piece, it's usually something revolving around family in our lives, something that's important to us, just because I know for a lot of people, family is the most important thing, so it's usually about something that means something to me, something about my children and my husband and my family and his family. I worked on a piece that a woman had designed for her husband. It was her mother-in-law who had passed away recently. It was her signature, and she wanted me to design her husband's mother's signature, so I did. And she wanted me to surprise him when they came and picked it up, so I layered it, and when we did the final reveal of that end piece, he was just in awe, and it almost brought tears to my eyes. We have a tagline that says making metal feel like home, and it's taking something that's known as cold and raw and turning it into something that's meaningful for anyone and everyone. You can put it in your home, you can put it in an office. It's something that's special for them.
For more information on Kindred Metal, you can go to our website. Again, we have that complete list for you of all the makers right on fox8.com. Coming up in just a few short minutes, designed, printed, and folded right in Stark County. Welcome back to our show as we continue to highlight some of the most talented makers throughout Northeast Ohio. Up next, handmade cards, art prints, totes, and more. Here is Champaign Paper.
We are a handmade greeting card business is how we started. We started with thank you cards. We did it when we were pregnant with our child, trying to find something to do outside of just a corporate job. So she had done wedding invitations for her best friend, and I had seen that she has a lot of talent drawing. I was like, maybe we can do something with that, do a little art, and it turned out to be something more. So as we got going, we ended up doing cards and prints. Now we do canvas bags and just anything that we can make ourselves that we can print on, we put our art onto and sell it online and in stores.
Like, I'm the boss when it comes to this stuff because I just do whatever I want to do. I mean, I can do anything with this. So there's no rules to it. It's just wherever your creativity goes.
The inspiration for a lot of the work comes from nature, things around us. Beth likes a lot of succulents and animals and things like that, so those are the types of things she enjoys drawing.
I'm always trying to expand on what fonts I can do and like basically how far I can push myself to creating something different than what I normally do.
We'll think of an idea, so sometimes I'll say, hey, I got an idea for a card or a print or something, or she'll think of something. We'll start with a drawing, I take it and edit in a computer, and then majority of the time we color it with a computer as well. And then we print it out, make sure everything looks good, get the colors and everything right, and then we do everything ourselves. So if it's a print or a card or a paper product, we print it here, cut it, package it, ship it out all over the country. We thought it was just going to be a way to make money on the side, so she could stay at home and then I could just work a corporate job. And the corporate job wasn't really my thing, and so it was like a nice outlet to get away from it. And once we started putting more time and devoting more time into it, it started to grow and grow and grow, and it got to the point where it was all we do, so it was really exciting. The learning curve was, it was pretty steep because I have a degree in political science, so I do not know anything about graphic design or anything like that. Well, I didn't. And I was able to learn from just tutorials and a lot of trial and error, a lot. We have some pretty hilarious versions of what our stuff looked like when we first started, and it's pretty incredible what we started with and where we're at now. So it's fun. I mean, we like doing everything together, so we get on each other's nerves sometimes, but I think that happens with most couples. But we enjoy spending time with each other, so it's fun to be able to collaborate on ideas and products and then go to the shows and just see what we've created together kind of grow. It's like the business is like a part of our family, basically.
I never thought that this would be a full-time job, and it's definitely a dream come true, for sure.
Champaign Paper ships all over the world. Pretty amazing for a small business in Stark County. Well, from paper to purses, meet Blair Ritchey.
I interned when I was in school. I interned for a handbag designer in New York. And that's kind of what really spurred my love for handbags. And I sat down at my sewing machine one day and sewed 2 pieces of leather together, and that's when I knew that I would be able to sew a handbag. And then finally I had a few that I would put online for Etsy. And then that's kind of what just started it. Like, a blogger reached out to me and said that they wanted to feature me, and then sales started slowly trickling in. And my tagline is functional luxury. I just wanted mine to be, I wanted them to be good. I wanted them to be quality, and functional luxury kind of came from, I don't have a whole lot of hardware that doesn't serve a purpose. And the materials are high-end. For instance, I have a pen carry-all that is a diaper bag, or it could be a work bag, and the canvas is water resistant. It's lined with ripstop that you can wipe clean, and it is able to be transferred into a backpack. That's the functional part, and the luxury is the high-end leather, the canvas, the hardware is all solid brass. And this is the pack, and it comes from my 3 girlfriends that were the first to have kids. And so they loved using their bags, but they needed something with like a wiped clean interior. So this has the ripstop, and I designed it so you could easily fit it underneath your arm. And it also comes with the option to put a detachable shoulder strap on it. And that comes in black gator and cognac. And this was one of my first designs. You know, just this real simple fold over. I brought it back with the stain resistant and water repellent canvas inside, and this is the natural one. And these are just really simple origami envelopes. This I use as my wallet. All the bags have a leather slip pocket label inside, and this is nice for, like, you can put cash, long ways, checks, passport, and then you can put your credit cards in the little slip pocket. And just last week I added the little D-ring, so you can add the pom-pom if you want. Just real simple, classic bags. One of the things that I still do by hand is the palm. And basically I cut strips that are 4 inches, and I just, with a rotary blade and ruler, I still cut them one by one. And just recently I had a customer ask for one that she could put on her tote that didn't have any zippers, because I had always had clasps. So I now do them with like a loop. So with like the loop, you can put it around the totes. You know, when I'm making each of the bags, I think about the customer that I'm making it for. I remember wanting it to be so special for her. And I still carry that to my customers now, because when they open it up, I want it to feel like a gift. Whether it was, from themselves or it's to a friend, I think, each and every customer that purchases one of my bags, I want them to feel special.
If you'd like to shop in person, Lovely Papery and Gifts in Rocky River carries Blair's full line. When we come back, turning crime into money.
So I just drive around the city and I look for piles of glass around the streets, and then I just literally sweep it right up off the street and turn it into jewelry.
Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. Here is a great gift for that hard to shop for person in your life. It's glassware sandblasted with Cleveland pride. Meet the Blastmasters.
Blastmaster was invented because I used to make all natural dog treats. And my husband likes to tinker. He likes to build things and do little things. And one time he said, hey, why don't we make some treat jars to go with the treats? I'm like, okay, fine. He goes, let's try to sandblast them. And I'm like, well, what is that? He goes, well, I was watching this video and you could do this and you could do that. And before I knew it, he made a sand cabinet. He utilized the compressor. So he was hand punching like dog paws, anything to do with dogs. And he was wrapping them around the glass. And we did like vases and treat jars and things like that. And he would take the blue tape and wrap it around and he would sandblast it. And it was like, oh, that's cool. Well, we would bring them to shows, and then we had people that said, oh, can you put this on a whiskey glass? Can you put this on a beer glass? Can you put this on this? And before we knew it, I stopped doing the dog treats because I was more into the glass, and you could say Blastmaster was born. We get an idea, we get a graphic, and we put it in the program called Silhouette. And what that does is I'm allowed to write anything, pull up any kind of graphic design, and then I put them on a sheet. Long version is I put vinyl, and I put it in this machine, and it cuts it all out. And then I take all the designs, I don't know if you can see them, and I cut them all out. Then what I do is I place them on the glass, and then I weed them out. Meaning I pick them out, I pick out what's to be sandblasted, and I tape up everything, and then it shows you what the wine glasses look like. You have to do that with every single piece by hand. After these are all done and these are all taped, I line them up like right behind you. Those are glasses to be done. And he'll put them in the cabinet and he'll sandblast them. It's like you're hosing something down. It removes the material. And that's what causes the frosting. So when I cut out the C, this is CLE. When I cut out the C and I cut out the L, that's what's going to be sandblasted. So this will turn into the white ceramic underneath the red paint, or the red of the glass. Our signature glass is the Skyline. We do the Cleveland Skyline, and we put CLE, or we put 216. We've done them for weddings, we've done them for birthdays, we've done them for corporate accounts. Everybody loves. I've never seen a city, so jazzed about their own city. I don't know, I get different ideas from, I'm very sarcastic, so I'll make different coffee things, like coffee makes me happy, you not so much. You know, little quirky things like that. We've sent glasses all over the world, all over the world. I mean, we sent them to Prague, Israel, California, Canada, you name it, you know. Oh, these are great gifts. And we take pride in our work. We give it our best, and we want you to, we don't advertise, but it's always word of mouth, and we want it to be a good word.
You can shop online for Blastmaster, but they also are in several local stores. Sticking with the theme, how about some wearable glass from Cleveland Street Glass?
Cleveland Street Glass is all jewelry made from glass of car break-ins. And so I just drive around the city and I look for piles of glass around the streets, and then I just literally sweep it right up off the street and turn it into jewelry. My car was broken into a week after I moved to Cleveland about 2 years ago, and but I moved here to focus on my art and to try new things, and there were different things that I wanted to try, like stained glass or encasing stuff in resin, and I just kept seeing the glass like glittering on the streets. So I thought it looked really pretty, and I started collecting it and working with it. The first thing I tried to make was actually a bowl, but you know, I got about like this big and was like, I think jewelry sounds good. I make all kinds of jewelry now because I'm just fascinated with trying to see what now I could do in this medium. So a lot of the pieces, I'll make small pendant necklaces. It's kind of difficult to make earrings because it's hard to find two pieces of glass that really match well together. And but I also am starting to work with resin a lot more, like in this piece. It's just glass mixed with resin, and I'm making my own molds and just kind of expanding all the possibilities of what I can do with this glass. It just really took off, and people have really responded well, and I'm even one of the Cleveland Magazine's most interesting people of 2017. So I get the glass, and then I need to clean it all up. So I take it home, there's usually like dirt and leaves, maybe even cigarette butts, and it's not nice. So people sometimes ask, is the jewelry clean? And it's definitely gone through several stages of cleaning. I sort it, and I sift through the glass and try to find nice big chunks to work with. So the first step in turning in one of these pieces of glass into a pendant, I like to wrap these in copper foil. And this is what allows the solder to stick to the edges of the glass. These are molds for bangles, and I would put some glass in here and also put in the resin. I just really enjoy the process of making this jewelry, a lot more than even drawing, which is something I've done since I was little, because there's so many different stages. If I don't feel like soldering, I can go and look for the glass, which is always fun, or I can sift it, or I can work with resin. There's just so many different things. And then of course I can, manage my business. So I can work on the website or photography and plan photo shoots. I just love doing all of that. It's quite a process to photograph every single thing because of course everything is one of a kind. I feel like there's something really empowering about wearing something that was damaged and it was taken from you, and now you can put it on and wear it as, it's powerful.
Remember, you can find a complete list on fox8.com of all of the makers we are featuring in today's show. After the break, a modern-day metalsmith.
You can turn it from a hard thing into a liquid if you get it hot enough and melt it. You can do all sorts of things with it. It's a pretty interesting material to work with.
Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. We are continuing to celebrate the talented makers throughout Northeast Ohio. Up next, we are in Olmsted Falls at a place called Millstone Mercantile.
Well, I'm a store that focuses on mostly American-made, handmade by individual people, small businesses around the country. I'm also a metalsmith. I make my own work and sell it here. Well, I started out mostly doing men's accessories. I initially wanted a belt buckle for myself, so I made that, and that was what got me started. And I have expanded into cufflinks, money clips. I do some other women's, earrings, necklaces, stuff like that too. And I keep trying to learn new skills to expand what I make and have available to people. This was a custom piece for a local stable. They saw my work. They asked me if I could design a keychain to give to their customers as a gift. History is a big influence for me, and nature. Sometimes it's kind of magic. I mean, you can turn it from a hard thing into a liquid if you get it hot enough and melt it. You can do all sorts of things with it. It's a pretty interesting material to work with. Most everything in the store is made in the United States. We have candles made in Tennessee and Hawaii. This is the 50/50 company. This is a person that I've known who's been doing this for a while. I've always admired his work, but he does editions of 50. So they're all numbered. The shirts, from 1 to 50. There's only 50 of these in the world. Once they're gone, he doesn't make any more. Juniper Ridge is a company in California that harvests all of their ingredients sustainably in the wilderness, and they either distill that or use it to make different products. They have soap and cologne and incense. The prices in the store are comparable to what you find on the internet, and you don't have to pay shipping, and you get it right away. I'm not a millionaire, and I hate to see things that I can't afford that I would like to have, so I try to make things that are still personalized, handmade, but also accessible to people. It's nice when people appreciate your work enough to spend their money on it. I think that's the best compliment, is when someone's willing to part with their hard-earned money for something that you've made with your hands.
Millstone Mercantile is in Grand Pacific Junction in Olmsted Falls. Okay, here's your chance to test your maker skills. You can sign up for a perfume workshop and blend your own scent.
Yates Perfumes and Apothecary is a small, local, small batch perfumer within the heart of Lakewood. I hand blend and make signature perfume oils, offer a perfumery workshop, and I also have a new thing called ritual oils, where they are essential oils blended with herbs for a specific intent. So the ritual oils can be for meditation or full moon oil or for sleep. So it's kind of a multitude of scent-oriented things that Yates Perfumes offers. I left my job back in 2010 after the birth of my youngest son. I spent 13 years in nuclear medicine. After nuclear, I was a stay-at-home mom with my kids and was lost and frustrated, and kids are screaming and crying, and my husband says to me, "What makes you happy?" And perfumes and scents has always been a part of that, for me at least. And then the chemistry aspect of blending also made my nuclear brain happy. So it kind of all just came together. So when it comes to making your own perfumes, you need what are called perfume notes. And if you go to yatesapothecary.com, you can select from a whole bunch of different type of workshops. You would sign up, it's $35 per person. Everything is included, and you make and take 2 bottles of perfume. So then you take your little oil and you give it 1 drop on the thin end. It's a guided workshop where you'll learn about the basics of perfumery, and then you get to experiment for yourself and learn how notes come together. A girlfriend of mine last month blended a perfume and it ended up smelling like a roasted turkey leg. So it's being open to the fact that when you put notes together, things will change and you'll have a different perfume at the end of 4 to 6 weeks. But it's all about being willing to experiment and have an open mind to scents. Lavender and cucumber, so if you like fresh notes, cucumber is a really nice one to play with. The oils need to macerate, so it's like a fine wine. Anything that needs to age, the notes will change over time. Certain notes will play well with each other, certain notes won't play well with each other, so you won't know what is at the end until 4 to 6 weeks after you blend. I have Yates perfumes that I sell that the studio is open to coming in and smelling and trying things on. I also offer custom perfumes too. If you have an idea and you want a one-off perfume that only you wear, then I would do a one-on-one consult and we would create a custom perfume. The signature perfume oils are all numerically named, so they have significance to me or my family. One of them is Yates' birthday, and Yates was named after my chocolate lab. One is his birthday, one is my son's birthday, one is an anniversary, one is my father's birthday, so they're all numerically named. There's a multitude of perfumes outside of Sephora and Ulta and Target or wherever else you can buy scents, that there is an option where you can come and make your own and get to experience what it's like to put notes together.
Yates Perfume and Apothecary is in Lakewood, and for her studio hours, you can head to her website. After the break, some hand-poured candles.
The funny thing is, I used to make candles in the 70s, the 80s, and then I quit, and then I came back into my life, and I thought, okay, this must be what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. Our next maker works in Cuyahoga Falls. She and her husband create candles, hand-poured in small batches.
Sister Scented Candles is a small company that a friend and I started in 2003 because we were sick and tired of buying candles that did not burn like they told us they were gonna. They didn't have any fragrance to them. They put out a lot of black smoke and soot. And they were so very, very expensive. And we thought, wait a minute. Everybody is telling us all these things their candles are going to do, and they don't. That means somebody should be able to figure out how to do it. It took us a while, but we did it. So our candles burn all the way down, all the way out to the edges. You never cut our wick because it's self-trimming. It reduces the soot 98%, and there's no black smoke because they are 100% food quality soy wax. I have unusual scents. Like right now, in the pouring pitcher over here cooling off, I have got a fresh baked bread, and it smells like it's in the oven when it burns. It is so real. I am very, very picky about my fragrances. I get in my mind what that fragrance should smell like. I work with it until it reaches that goal. My fresh cut rose is like you're in a garden of roses. My snickerdoodle, the story on that is someone that helped me one day came running in very happy. I'm so happy I sold a dozen candles last night. I said, that's great. What's going on? She goes, oh, it's a dozen snickerdoodles. I just went, oh, we don't have a snickerdoodle candle. She goes, well, I figured you could make it. And I thought, what am I going to do to make this candle? I got my cookie recipe, and I followed it with fragrance oils as closely as I could. My candle smells exactly like a snickerdoodle cookie. just keep working at it till it hits the trigger that, yes, that's it. Mine will smell like their name. I normally will pour 4 or 6 candles per pitcher. I don't do large batches. I keep them small. I do them by weight. Fragrance is done by weight. This is a max wax melter that I use to keep the temperature. It's a little over where I want it to pour. That way I've got time to work with it. The funny thing is I used to make candles in the 70s, the 80s. And then I quit, and then it came back into my life. And I thought, okay, this must be what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Sister Scented Candles is located in Cuyahoga Falls. Now they're in the basement, so keep in mind you might have to walk down a few steps. All right, our last talented maker uses something that we all have laying around.
I make jewelry using 35mm film negatives and slide film. I first started off with my own family's images, then friends and neighbors knew that I was doing this, so they started giving me their materials. Now at art shows that I go to, people ask me the same thing. They go, does anyone even have this anymore? And I said, you'd be surprised. For everyone that asks me that, another person still has it in their attic or basement. And they kind of hold on to it. They don't really want to get rid of it. But then there's others that are, oh, this is a great use. Would you like some more materials? I'm like, I am a hoarder of materials. So I hand cut these using cuticle scissors. And each one's cut at an angle, and then they're rounded at the top. So while this might be tedious to some people, it's actually meditative for me. I've done some custom work. People want to wear their own people a lot of times, or their own events, things that, you know, are special to them, or people that are no longer around, that have died, gone on. I remove color and then add color, a lot of different colors. And that's what makes it fun, because people don't recognize that right away. They kind of see the sprocket image and they know that they're looking at something familiar, but they don't know why it's blue or pink or green. And that kind of draws them in, and then we have a conversation about it. A lot of times, particularly in the flat pieces, they're trying to identify images. Are these people, are these places, what's going on? Or they just start talking about when they used to take a lot of pictures. People that do photography or that are into the film industry find a real fascination with the use of the material. One of the things I do is I try to make lightweight jewelry, so larger statement pieces without the weight. So I fold them in half, and then I fold them in quarters, and that's how you have your little floral shape. I would really like for them to just appreciate the fact that it's a material that was once disposed of, and that there is possibility to take these materials and reuse them for something beautiful.
If you want more information on Cynde H Designs or any of our featured makers, once again, make sure you head to our website, fox8.com. And if you know someone you think we just have to meet, let us know. You can always email us or reach out to us on Facebook. I'm Natalie Herbick, and I'll see you on the next New Day Cleveland. Wine. 3, 2, wine. We have a moment, and it's gone. I should be in a music video. That's what this should be. That wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good at all.
We're done.